Hello and welcome back to Trish's Plant Life and another Care Collab. So today's Care Collab is going to be on the Cattlianthe Sagarik Wax Silk Ball. And the other participants in today's collab are Ed's Orchids, Nina from Ninja's Orchids, and Tropical Plants Finland. If you are a social media plant person such as we are, regardless of what platform you do your videos on, whether it be YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of those wonderful ones. I know there's several more new ones that are out. Let us know if you'd like to join and you have this particular plant and you'd like to join in on any future collaborations. We'll be more than happy to welcome you. You can reach out to any of us. Nina from Ninja's Orchids initiated the Care Collab earlier this year. So she is pretty much the one that we all reach out to organize. But again, you can reach out to any of us. My email is in the description. I know Nina has her email in her descriptions as well. But to go on about our Cattlianthe here. So I received this beautiful specimen of a plant. Well, she's not a specimen, but beautiful plant. Last month, July of 2021, from Paula at Hillbilly Orchids. And she came with this latest growth. The leaves weren't quite hardened off yet. They were still very soft and light. Well, as you can see, she's finished off these leaves, and I was hoping for a bloom, but she was like, no bloom this time, lady. So I was looking at her prior to doing this video, and although her roots look fairly well right here, she has a lot of them that are dying off. And this smallest growth right here, I've noticed the leaves are just getting more desiccated. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to repot her. I can't really tell you too much about her because I've had her less than a month. And thank you, Nina, for inviting me in on this particular collab. But she does have, so she's done growing. She does have a little nubbin right there. I don't know if that's going to be a growth or if that's a root. But she does have a couple of new roots down here at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and repot her. And with her being a bifoliate, she's probably going to drop whatever roots are going to be left on her. But currently she's in Coco Husk. I'm still learning about Coco Husk, so I may be keeping her too wet in here. So I'd rather put her in the media that I'm comfortable with, which is my large bark, perlite, and charcoal mix that I already have ready right here. And then I also am going to put her in a clay pot. I have found that with my Cattlianthes that seems to work, because even putting them in a decorative heavy pot, the pots still tend to lean. So, and because I have limited space on where I grow, I like to keep stuff kind of more in control and upright if possible. Just to give you a background on where I am in Colorado, Denver, Colorado, in the United States. I grow in my living room. This window behind me is the primary source of light that all of the plants get that are in this living room. Last count, I have roughly 200 plants in here, maybe less, but around 200 plants. The bulk of them are orchids, and the bulk of those orchids are Phalaenopsis. Phalaenopsis are my favorite, and recently I have been getting into the summer or novelty phals. So my ambient humidity runs right now with my air conditioning running. It runs between 40 and 60%, just kind of depends on if I have my windows open or if I have everything closed up with just the air conditioning. Average temperature is between 74 and 76. So it doesn't fluctuate too much, not even at night. Let's see, what else can I tell you about my environment? That's it. Oh, lighting. I do supplement lighting in some areas. I have 2 grow lights at the top of a curtain rod that point kind of this way to the plants that are on the ends, and then I have this grow shelf over here that does have supplemental lighting, and I am going to buy some more lighting to add to it because I feel like the Cattlianthes can use a little bit more light, and I do have a shelf dedicated to my highlight orchids. Along the lines of a highlight orchid, Paula did tell me that this lovely lady here is one of those orchids Cattleya orchids that do prefer higher light. So I will be obviously keeping her as close to the grow light as possible without her touching it and getting burnt. So I'm going to readjust the camera so that we can have it down at the table while I do the unpotting and we look at the roots and kind of see what else is going on. First thing we're going to do is obviously take her out of her pot. And as you can tell, she's not in there very well anyway, so I'm expecting a lot more dead roots than what I can see. Because like I said, I'm still kind of learning about Coco Husk. I am using it for some plants, but it's the plants that I don't care if they don't make it. I know that sounds kind of harsh, but they were bought specifically for the experiment in Coco Husk. And I don't want to lose this one. And like I stated, I think I'm just keeping it too wet in the Coco Husk because even though it looked kind of dry on the outside, it is still very, very wet on the inside. So I am damaging her by keeping her in here. And I am taking a risk repotting her without seeing new root growths come in. But I feel like once I clean her up and get her into her fresh media, I feel like within a couple of weeks she'll take off. The rest of the Cattleyas that I've had to do that to just because of an emergency repot have went ahead and grown me some roots. The next growth might be a little stunted from the stress, but I'd rather it be stunted and wait for the next one to be healthy than to continue letting her just go downhill. All right, so let's get started. So for those of you who have watched repotting videos on my channel before, already know what's coming. For those of you who, if this is your first time, I will be starting the fast forwarding because I go through every root and cut off what needs to be cut off and save what needs to be saved, and sometimes that can take quite some time. So if you want to fast forward, I'll put some timestamps in when the root cleanup is done. And like I said, fast forwarding will begin soon. Okay, so this is what I have left. Just turn around. Most of the roots are back here off of the previous growth. So I think that's going to be enough to kind of sustain her until this one here gets her roots going. So I'll just take her to the sink real quick and rinse her off. And I was debating on cutting this one off just because it is kind of going over. And as you can see, she is a climber. So I'll probably have to put her in the pot like this, but I'm thinking as well, maybe I can, if I cut this one off, then I can kind of put this piece a little bit lower and just make sure that there's larger bark on this side here, just to keep it from rotting. You know, let's just go ahead and do that. Let's just go ahead and do that to give her more room in the pot to grow. So, and as we all do, we're all looking at the cut, and the cut, whoops, the cut is good. We have a good cut. All cleaned up and ready to be potted up. I have already put some cinnamon on my cut here just to close that out. And while I was cleaning her up, I noticed that we may have a second growth right here. I was cleaning the little sheaths and down in here just to make sure. And like I said, there's that nubbin that I was showing you earlier, but then she also looks like she may have a nubbin here. So I don't know if that's going to be a root and that's going to be the growth. We may have two growths. Like I said, I only have had her for less than a month, and I was trying to wait for those new roots to come in, but I feel like doing this is actually going to encourage that a little faster. And like I said, I am going to put her in a little bit low in the back, like so, because she is a climber, so I don't want her climbing out of the pot too soon until she gets herself established. And once she's established, she can do whatever she wants. And again, for those of you who are new, I generally will fast forward over the putting the media in and putting the orchid in the pot unless something exciting is happening for me to talk about. So fast forwarding again will happen soon. And as seems to happen every time I try to pot a Cattleya, I end up having to start over. These roots, I want them to go in, and they were too far up for me to push in, so I poured the media back out so I can get these roots in like I want. And again, that's just one of those things when you're repotting. If it doesn't work the first time, do it over. Sorry about that. Also, I was going to show you, I put a rock in the bottom of all of my clay pots for the holes so the media doesn't fall out. And with the rock, it still allows some water flow to go through as well. So let me put a little more media down here at the bottom, which I did not do before. All right, fast forwarding begins. So there she is. What this one here is going to be for, when I get done, I'm going to wire these two stakes to this one to help kind of keep them upright. But she is, let me just give you up close here. So I do have her kind of deep in the back. However, it is all bark in here. And because I know most of her roots are in this area, when I do water, I'll just water this side of the pot for now. And because she is in bark where she's going to dry out a little bit quicker, I will have to water her more often, because in the cocoa husk it does stay moist a little bit longer. And earlier when I said I'm only putting cocoa husk in those orchids I don't care about, what I meant was pure cocoa husk, because I did put some cocoa husk in a Motoniopsis, but it's in a mixture of bark, perlite, charcoal. It's got a whole bunch of stuff in there, and that one I am watching very carefully because I do care about that one. That's a special orchid that was sent to me by another YouTuber, Nicole Deanna. So just wanted to clarify that. I didn't want people thinking I'm just, you know, I don't care about things. But like I said, as I'm not as experienced with cocoa husk, I think I was watering her too much because it looked dry, and I was adding water, and I think she was just staying too wet, and that may be part of why her roots just started to desiccate. But this right here, I will definitely be keeping a close eye on these roots, and if need be, I will put just a little bit of sphagnum moss just on the outer perimeter here to kind of encourage root growth. I'm not going to do that quite yet. I'm just going to give it some time. And hopefully on the next Care Collab, I will have more to share, and maybe even a bloom. So be sure to go check out Ed's Orchids, Ninja Orchids, and Tropical Plants Finland, and go see what they've got going on with their Cattlianthe Sagarik Wax silk ball. I don't know if any of them are in bloom. I'm hoping on the web of what the flower looks like, and I understand it's supposed to be a fragrant orchid as well, so that will be exciting to look forward to. And like I said, we'll get her all settled in, and hopefully on the next collab I'll have more to show you and more to say. Thank you again for coming over, and we'll see you guys on the next one.